Arthur Sinodinos was the subject of a fiery Senate debate this morning, with the opposition gunning for a ministerial scalp.
Senator Sinodinos is asking, for example, this chamber to believe he was not involved, he didn't have any knowledge of political donations when donations were made at a time he was an office holder of both organisations.
They should put up or shut up before they smear the reputation of a man who is a greater Australian than any of them.
The senator avoided the chamber for the 3-hour debate, but relented shortly before question time.
I do not want this sideshow to be an unnecessary distraction to the important work of the government, which I am proud to serve. Whilst this process is underway, I will therefore be standing aside as Assistant Treasurer. I thank my colleagues for their strong support and for their faith, their ongoing faith in my integrity. The ICAC is an important forum, the appropriate forum for me to answer any questions in relation to this matter.
Senator Sinodinos will appear before the ICAC soon. He says he'll cooperate and will be vindicated.
Senator Sinodinos has done the right and decent thing, as you'd expect from someone who has given our country such long and faithful service. I look forward to his restoration to the ministry.
He was once a close advisor to John Howard. He issued a statement today saying Arthur Sinodinos is a man of great integrity and ability. I continue to hold him in the highest regard. Before joining the Senate, he was appointed the chairman of Australian Water Holdings in November 2010. At the same time, the senator was an executive office holder of the New South Wales Liberal Party. He was recruited to AWH by Nick DiGirolamo, a Liberal Party fundraiser and mate.
Now, according to Mr DiGirolamo...
The ICAC's heard the senator was paid a salary of $200,000 a year for about 100 hours' work. He was also given a 5% shareholding of AWH, with a bonus of another 2.5% if it won a PPP, a public-private partnership with the New South Wales government. It nearly did.
If the PPP came through, Mr Sinodinos would have enjoyed a $10 million or $20 million payday. It's presently difficult to offer observations on the conduct of Mr Sinodinos.
The Commission's heard the senator was targeted for the AWA chairmanship to boost its connections with the Liberal Party and its chances of getting a PPP in the event of a likely change of government.
It's quite transparent that Mr Sinodinos' true role in Australian Water Holdings was to open lines of communication with the Liberal Party, and there will be evidence that he tried to do so.
If the company had signed the PPP, the Commission's heard another group of investors who owned 30% of AWH were set to pocket millions. The family of disgraced Labor Party power broker Eddie Obeid. The ICAC's been told the family were secret shareholders. The senator told Parliament last year he had no idea the Obeids were involved.
Obviously, I was shocked and disappointed to learn that a company whose mission I believed in and was passionate about was financially linked to the Obeid family.
But the Commission has evidence in the form of a diary note showing Senators Sinodinos and DiGirolamo met lawyer John McGuigan 3 years ago to discuss selling a stake of AWH to Cascade Coal, which was secretly owned by the Obeids. The previous ICAC hearings already made a corruption finding against McGuigan. Edward Obeid Jr was also at this meeting. The senators previously said he thought Obeid Jr was there because he was employed by a subsidiary company of AWH. The Commission's also heard the senator was authorised to negotiate a $1 million fee for Liberal Party lobbyist Michael Photius in the event he succeeded in jagging a PPP. The board agreed to keep Mr Photius on a monthly retainer of $5,000 and left negotiations regarding the success payment to Senator Sinodinos and DiGirolamo, agreeing it wouldn't form part of any formal compensation arrangement.
I'm not arguing he has acted corruptly. I'm arguing he should make a full explanation to the Senate.
What makes this awkward for the senator is his joint roles of chairman of AWH and his executive Liberal Party positions. The ICAC's been told AWH was making big donations to the Liberal Party and billing the expenses back to the Sydney Water Corporation, which is owned by the New South Wales government. The senator said he knew nothing about the donations in either his capacity as AWH chairman or his Liberal Party positions. The party has since refunded the donations.
Given the positions that Senator Sinodinos held, that either as a director or chairman on the one hand or as an official of the Liberal Party on the other hand, he knew nothing about this. He should have. He should have if he didn't.
The senator had no choice in stepping aside. So far, there's no direct evidence Senator Sinodinos knew of the Obeid financial connection, but the fact he's been mentioned along with the Obeids has dominated media coverage and was threatening to swamp the remainder of the parliamentary sitting session. He will come under questioning over his unequivocal statement to the Senate that he didn't know there was an Obeid connection with AWH, given others within the company have given evidence that they knew about the ties in 2010.
Sabra Lane reporting. And the Leader of the Government in the Senate, Eric Abetz, joins us now in Canberra. Senator Abetz, thank you for joining the program.
Good to be on the program.
Now, why did the Prime Minister today refuse to give direct answers to any questions asking what he knew before now about Arthur Sinodinos' involvement in Australian water holdings?
The Prime Minister's answers were quite clear and proper today in relation to the matters that were raised in the House of Representatives. What the Prime Minister may or may not have known at the end of the day is not relevant to the actual issues that ICAC will need to explore and is exploring. And if I might say, Senator Sinodinos has done the right thing by stepping aside voluntarily and he will be able to give his full and frank account, as he has done to the Senate already, to ICAC and answer any questions that may be put to him.
I'm not sure that everyone would agree, though, Senator Abetz, that it's irrelevant. He was appointed to a senior position in the ministry. Was there any sort of due diligence done about his role in Australian water holdings?
The Senator made a full statement on the 28th of February 2013. Nobody has laid a glove on that statement since, and you will recall that the election was in September 2013, so some 7 months afterwards, when the Prime Minister was determining his ministry, he had before him the statement made to the Senate, which nobody has laid a glove on as yet, and we anticipate they won't be able to do so during the ICAC inquiry.
Have you spoken to him personally about his involvement with the Obeids and the company?
I haven't spoken to Senator Sinodinos personally about the specifics, other than to indicate to him that he enjoys my full regard, full respect and full support.
Let's just go to that statement that he made in the Senate. He said, for example, that he had very limited dealings with Eddie Obeid Sr.'s son, who's also called Eddie Obeid. Eddie Obeid Jr. joined the company as an executive. It was a very small company. There are now reports of a crucial meeting attended by Mr Sinodinos and Eddie Obeid in which they discussed selling a $15 million stake in the company. Has Arthur Sinodinos in this case misled the Senate about his relationship?
Absolutely not, and it is for Senator Sinodinos, of course, to give his version of events to ICAC, and that is the appropriate forum, and with respect, it's not the Parliament nor the 7:30 report for us to try to hypothecate as to what may or may not have been said or done. That is the role of ICAC, that is what ICAC is doing, and that is where Senator Sinodinos will give a further full and frank account of all matters that may be of interest to ICAC.
So you personally weren't curious about his involvement with those notorious figures from New South Wales?
I read Senator Sinodinos' statement of the 28th of February 2013, and as far as I'm concerned, that satisfies me that he was not aware of the Obeid involvement, and if I might say, and this is hypothecating if you like, that people with less honourable motives than Mr Sinodinos may well have sought to have involved him on the basis to provide their enterprise with a veneer of respectability. And as was said in the introduction to this program, it is accepted that the shareholdings and involvement were in fact kept secret, and the shareholding by, or the potential shareholding by Senator Sinodinos was fully and frankly acknowledged in his register of senators' interests as soon as he arrived in the Senate.
All right,
so there was nothing to hide there by Senator Sinodinos.
Let's just move on to some of the other issues raised in ICAC. He was hired, and these are, I'm using the words of ICAC here, to open lines of communication to the Liberal Party. This was while he was Treasurer and then president of the New South Wales Liberal Party. Isn't that a clear conflict of interest?
Well, that was an assertion made by counsel, and opening statements by counsel are not evidence.
Can't you see the conflict of interest there, though?
Well, when Senator Sinodinos says to us that the question of donations was never raised, to his recollection, at the board level, and that he was not aware of, and it's not surprising that as an official of the Liberal Party you would not be aware of every donation that goes into Liberal Party coffers, there is quite frankly no conflict of interest in the circumstances that Senator Sinodinos explained to the Senate well over 12 months ago.
But at the same time, he recommended that Santo Santoro become involved with the company. He organised a lucrative package for another Liberal Party identity, Michael Photius. This all at the same time that the company was lobbying very hard for a contract from the New South Wales government. Do you accept that there is a conflict of interest, at the very least an appearance of one, in those statements?
Sarah, these are all suppositions that will ultimately
they're not
be ventilated.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but they're not actually suppositions. These are facts that have been stated in ICAC, and I don't believe those are in dispute.
Oh, well, let's wait and see what Mr Sinodinos says about that, because, as I said before, opening statements before commissions of inquiry are not actually evidence. The witnesses provide the evidence, and there will be a number of versions of the evidence, and all of Senator Sinodinos' colleagues in Canberra know him to be a trustworthy, honourable individual, and might I add, even as of yesterday, no Labor Party official or Labor Party member was suggesting that Senator Sinodinos should stand aside other than Kelvin Thompson, yet, despite that, Senator Sinodinos did, which shows that he is honourable, that he has abided by the very best traditions of the Westminster system, and he has only stood aside, and that is the proper thing and to do, and we are hoping and looking forward to his return to the ministry.
Just very briefly though, you came into government promising new standards of probity and accountability. Doesn't this sound very much like New South Wales Labor Inc? And quickly, if you would.
No, absolutely not. I don't see that comparison in any way, shape or form, and Senator Sinodinos did not keep anything secret. He declared his involvement, he declared his interest, unlike Mr Abetz, who clearly, on all the evidence, kept his shareholding secret. Why would you do that? Because you didn't want to be seen as being involved in the company, and quite clearly that was kept secret from Mr Sinodinos as well.
Senator Abetz, I'm grateful for the time. Thank you.
Thank you.